anyways. Okay, so want to keep moving. The other thing that's important is, as an investor, you only lose one time of your money. Think about that. Right? So focus on the positives. Don't get fixated on losing money. In other words, what does this mean for entrepreneurs? You shouldn't be so hard on yourself if things don't work out, but you got to give it a shot, right? If you promise someone, I'm going to think big, aim high, follow through with that. And if it doesn't work, you did what you're supposed to do, that is okay, right? What is not okay, though, is this. Promise to go big, and then once you get the money in, you go low, right? Because that's not what we signed up for. You're not really protecting us. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's actually really important. Okay, be rational about follow-on. This is important. I'm still, after 15 years in venture, I'm still working on this. When we make an investment, there's an emotional attachment to the company. But there is a time and place to say and sort of call it quits, right? So as founder, you should have that sort of discipline too, right? If things don't work, pivot. If it doesn't work, you pivot again. Don't raise 3-4 rounds of inside money, right? If the market is telling you it's not working, figure out another way to do it, right? And we need to be more disciplined and just say, all right, it doesn't work. Move on, right? Yeah.
I've been experiencing something that, for example, if the investor doesn't want to follow on, the other investors think that the deal is not good, you know? And do you think it's contradictory to what you said about not investing in different rounds?
Depends on who. Remember, I had a chart, the various types of investors. If friends, family, fool don't follow on, doesn't mean anything, right? I mean, they're not set up as an institution. We are an institution. When we make an investment, we put reserves behind it. We know that there's going to be a sort of alphabet soup, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you know, like many rounds. So we do this for a living. If we don't follow on, it could be many reasons, right? Mm-hmm. One reason could be the company's not performing, right? Or the company pivoted. You said you're going to cure cancer, but you went into the vitamin business. Oh, good for you, but that's not what we signed up for. And there may be other investors who want to support you, and that's great, right? And so no hard feelings. It's actually very important to be, it's like a marriage, you have to be very transparent, right? This takes a lot, so marriage takes a lot of time. This is actually really interesting to read. You should take some time to read through this. This may help you with your relationship. What's interesting is this. As you have more kids, you have less time for each other, right? But it doesn't mean don't have kids. It just means that you have to know. The takeaway here for an entrepreneur and VC is that as you go into a relationship with an investor or an entrepreneur, it takes a lot of time, right? It's like getting married to someone. And then, you know, investors will have other investments with more kids. There's less time, right? So less time, miscommunication, then issues happen, right? So the key is you actually do have to view this as part of your job, or my job, to talk to your investors, board members, right? Kind of understand where they are, right? It's important to figure out who you're getting married to. If the person has a bad reputation, right? Obviously, if the person has a bad reputation, you won't get married to that person. But oftentimes, we get married first, and then we figure out if that person is not compatible. I mean, that is sort of what happens in the fundraising world, right? I mean, we do some basic due diligence, we go to their website, but how many people interview your investors, CEOs of the portfolio? 0, I actually recommend you do that. Whenever I fund someone, I would say, hey, feel free to call any one of my CEOs, and these are the phone numbers. That also helps me, right? Because they will call them, may not be compatible. And if it's not compatible, it's not a good idea, because at the seed stage, we're signed on for like 10 years, right? So the other thing is, if we have a CEO who does due diligence on their investors, that protects me in the future, because this hopefully then weed out the investors or the board members who force the company to do unnatural things.